As you remember, last week we talked about stewardship and relationships, and we talked about being able to be a good steward over the relationships that God has given us, right? And so I want to pick up on point number 1 that Ed made in his lesson. Again, you can see this in the link. Stewardship, number 1, rests on the fundamental belief that God owns everything that exists. So that's what stewardship rests on. And remember, I didn't put in the lesson, but remember what we said. Our operating definition was that if I'm a steward, I am a careful, responsible manager of what has been entrusted to me, right? Do y'all remember that? I'm a careful, responsible manager of what has been entrusted to me. And so stewardship is resting on the fact that God owns everything. And so how blessed am I if God give me something? Because it say right here, the principle number 1 is that God owns everything. So how blessed am I if he gives me something? If he entrusts me with something? That's awesome. That's why if you get that truth, when they sing, I will bless the Lord, it'll just blow your mind, because if you realize that little old you, God entrusted you with something, Tanya, who am I that he would give me anything? Who am I that he would give me a husband? Who am I that he would give me a wife? Who am I that he would give me a sound mind? Do you know people crazy? We crazy. But we at least walk around half sane crazy. So who am I to believe that I'm somebody? And who am I, God, that you would give me anything? Because you own everything. That's hot. To me, that's just absolutely hot. Because when I think about where I could have been and the fact that God not only saved me, but he entrusted me with something, Nikki. Wow. My God, the big God, the only God, entrusted me with something. Let's talk about what he entrusted you with, amen? So now I want to dip down. We're going to come past those 6 principles. I want to pick up. I'm just going to make a couple points from this lesson. So I'll start off by saying within the 6 principles of stewardship, we've considered behaviors such as accountability. And when you go back and look at the video, this will make sense. Faith, diligence, and self-denial. But how do we find ourselves pursuing such behaviors? So how can I find myself, Sherry, being accountable? How can I find myself activating faith? How do I find myself operating in self-denial? Those are big terms, big words. How do you deny yourself? Really? How do you do that? And so when I went back and I looked at the lesson, I said, I got to ask myself, how could I even be in a position, Larry, that I would be willing to be accountable? Because if we honest, the real, when we was in the world, wasn't nobody accountable. You did whatever you wanted to do, and you ain't tell nobody nothing. You dared them to ask. I dare you. What? Ninja, what? You don't get to ask me that, right? How do you find yourself in a place where you're now willing to be accountable? How do you find yourself in a place where you're willing to deny yourself? There's a place that you got to get to be able to do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's look at the scripture underneath. I'm sorry, not the scripture, but yeah, let's look at the scripture. Christ's love controls us. When we are sure that one person died for everyone, and so everyone died, Christ died for everyone. He died so that those who live should not live for themselves anymore. They should live for Christ. He died for them and was raised again. See, I think for me, when I realized that he died for me, that the Son was given as a gift to me, that I can live, I realized, Tavares, that my life has to go back to him. See, because if let's look at it again, he owns everything and he controls us, meaning me, then everything that is me, everything that I have, everything that I do, everything that I be, Rivion, got to go back to him because it's not mine. Does that make sense? So how do I operate in those behaviors? Deborah, in order for me to operate in self-denial, in order for me to operate in a willingness to give my will to God, in order for me to operate in a mindset of diligence, I got to realize that Christ died for me and that I am now obligated to live for Christ. But how do you do that? How do you really relinquish control? How do you really recognize that you don't really own nothing? That car you think you have, you don't own that. House, you don't own that. Clothes, you don't own that. Your ability to even be who you are, you don't own that. You can't be her. You can't be her. The girl that God intended me to be, I can't be her. He has to help me be her. Because I be in a fake be. Y'all hear me? See, I be in a fake be. I be, as Wildflower found out, I be in the one who I think that who I think that the world want me to be. I don't even have the ability to be in me until I be in him. And I can't be in me until I be in him and acknowledge that I live for Christ. See, that's what it means for me to become a steward of my love for Christ. A steward of my relationship with God. See, we could talk about stewardship in your relationships and how to be able to talk in your relationships and communicate and be honest and apologize and stop lying. But you can't do that until you are a steward over your love with God. I can't love you, Tanya, until I love God. Until I acknowledge that he entrusted me with my relationship with you. Then that's what tempers how I talk to you. That's what tempers how I care for you. That's what tempers how I pray for you. See, none of that happens until I recognize that, you know what, God entrusted me with her. And the only way I recognize that was when I recognized is that God loved me so much, Mia, that he entrusted me with that wonderful gift. Does that make sense to you all? Let's look a little further. I want to look at this point that I made after where it says love and stewardship. I acknowledge that God owns everything. And Christ's love controls us. Because I am a careful and responsible manager of Christ's love for me, I commit to living for him. I'm going to read that again. I acknowledge that God owns everything. And Christ's love controls us. Because I am a careful and a responsible manager of Christ's love for me, I commit to living for him. See, in my old self, I live for me. In my old self. And when I'm not flowing in my God relationship, when I'm not activating that what I have, what he's given me, my sound mind, my heart to serve, my love for people, my desire for him, when I'm not operating in that, I could go play on the other playground, as Jill likes to tell me. You can go play on the other playground. And when I go play on the other playground, I'm playing on the playground for me. When I'm not operating in self-denial. Playing on the playground for me. Right? The goal, however, is for me to operate in my new creation. So let's look at this scripture below. I think that's 2 Corinthians. Yeah. So from now on, we don't look at anyone the way the world does. And at one time, we looked at Christ in that way. But we don't anymore. Anyone who believes in Christ is a new creation. The old is gone. The new has come. It's all from God. He brought us back to himself through Christ's death on the cross. And he has given us the task of bringing others back to him through Christ. God was bringing the world back to himself through Christ. He did not hold people's sins against them. God has trusted us with the message that people may be brought back to him. So we are Christ's official messengers. It is as if God were making his appeal through us. Here is what Christ wants us to beg you to do. Come back to God. See, what he's saying to you is that you are an official representative of him. You're an official representative of him. So you might work for Apple. You go out with your little red Apple shirt. You work at the Genius Bar, right? You might work for IBM. You go out with your little IBM cool toolkit working on copiers. You're a representative when you walk in the door, right? Work for FedEx. You got your FedEx truck out front. You got your blue FedEx little shirt on with the green and blue bar or the red and blue bar, depending upon if you office FedEx or you the truck FedEx, right? You're an official representative of them. But you're a representative of God. And what he's asking of you in your stewardship, Derek, when he entrusts something to you, he asks that you show up like you're a representative. See, what we forget sometimes is that God has entrusted us with his son's life. He's given you his son's life, Tavares. And in giving you that life, he's asking that you show up and behave like he paid a great cost for you. he gave you something great. If he never gives you anything else, he gave you the most dearest, most precious gift that anyone could ever give. And he asks that you protect that. But you can't protect that until you begin to behave like you live for Christ. See, the gift was a gift. But the stewardship part, that's our activation. That's our doing part. That is, how do I live? How do I give? How do I sow? What do I do? How do I love? So we can fret in our relationships about, I got to apologize to him. We could fret, I don't want to tell the truth because I don't want to hear their mouth. We could fret in our relationships about, I don't want to tell them what's really going on with me. I don't want them to think I'm crazy. Listen, it's so not about man. It's about your love for God. And it's about your acknowledging the gift that God gave you. He gave you his son. He entrusted that gift with you, that you might be able to be a representative to others, so that others might see the light in you. We have to be stewards, y'all. Stewards of that gift. Remember, he owns everything. He controls everything. You ain't got nothing to fear. And the moment that we begin to fear man is the moment that we operate like we don't have that gift. That's the moment that we operate like we're not gifted with the Christ, and that we are not stewards of God's love. Let's look at the very bottom of this lesson. And then we're going to have Deron come up. At the very bottom of this lesson, I want you to see this last line. And I think this is what sums up stewardship and your relationship with God. God has entrusted you with his love and with his son's life. How are you a steward of that gift? If God loved you so greatly, Zach, that he decided that today I would give my son on your behalf, how do you honor that kind of love? Does it show up in your mouth? Does it show up in your home? Does it show up in your schoolwork? See, kids, if we were to come into the school and track you, would you be a representative of Christ? On that day, when we walked into the school and you was walking down the hallway, well, we know that you are his. Would he know that you are his? Because we representatives, y'all. And the day that you really believe that you live, your life is to reflect Christ, is the day that you will honor and be a steward of the love that God gave you. Amen? Amen. Come on up, Deron.
So the question becomes, then why can't we be good stewards over our relationships? She's explained what this principle of stewardship is. And I wanted to know, and I don't want to know, I was awoken and said, we're feeding the demon. We can't be a good steward over our relationship because we're feeding the demons. You can choose your place of eternity. You can choose. And the choice is yours. You can choose your place, and the choice is yours. The choice is not mine. The choice is not your elders. The choice is not your pastors. The choice is yours where you choose to spend eternity. And my brother and my sister, it's only two choices, light or darkness. You can't straddle the fence on this one, brothers. You actually have to commit if you are going to take care of spiritual business. Here's the craziness about our church. If we were in a religious, now we got religion here. We got a soul fact religion. We're going to break that in a second. But if we're a religious church, y'all would have been, oh, hallelujah, I'm mine. And everybody would have shouted, yes, I belong to God, but ain't nobody living a nickel's worth of nothing. And so many of you all could not concur, yes, everything I own is God, and it's quiet. It's quiet in Atlanta, it's quiet in here. And so why is it quiet on a principle that God is talking about? I created you all. I'll go to Luke First, let's talk about the strength of commitment. The strength of commitment. See, most of us don't know what commitment is, because if you ever knew what commitment is, you stop quitting so much. Commitment carries with it carries with it a badge of honor. Commitment carries with it an integral understanding of that the community is based upon my private commitment to live my life privately successfully as well as publicly successfully. And if you're not careful, you'll be a public success and a private failure because you're committed to the image of public, but not committed to the image of what's going on in private. And so when you are a public success and a private failure, everybody on the outside, you believe they believe it's you, but they know you're lying. And everybody who's close to you know you ain't nothing but a liar. Why? Because you are a public success and a private failure, and you have committed to both images. You've committed to building a public success picture, and you've committed to building a private success picture. So that's why when God says, be a good steward, what am I going to do? Because I done created both worlds. In Luke 19, wherever he told us to go, was it 16, 19, please? And I'll be reading different versions. There was once a rich man expensively dressed in the latest fashion. Verse 19, y'all there? Wasting his days in conspicuous consumption. A poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, had been dumped on his doorstep, and all he lived for was to get a meal of scraps off the rich man's table. See, I want to submit to you all, you're so freaking rich, you got cell phones, you're so freaking rich, you can have an old hat with a new tag on top of it, and you're committed to that foolish illusion of buying a brand new hat and never taking a new tag off so that the whole community can see that you got a new hat. That's the illusion that we have committed to building. We've committed to coaching. Is that a Coach purse? Is that a Louis Vuitton purse? Is that a Ubikadaki? Is that this? We've committed to that. So, he said, dressed in latest fashions. I stood out there. I watched y'all get out the car. Look at your clothes, blah, 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 blah. Broke as all get out in the spirit realm. But you look good. You're committed to the image of long, flat. Who told you your eyelashes weren't nice? Why you got to fan everybody when you blink? We don't need no air this summer. All we had to do is have the black women. Then he died. It says, then he died and was taken up by the angels to the lap of Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried, and in hell and torment, he looked up and saw Abraham in the distance and Lazarus at his lap. He called out, Father Abraham, have mercy, have mercy. See, some of y'all so well placed, and you got your life so worked out, you don't even know how to cry out for mercy. You understand, your soul is so wretchedly torn. If you understood just what the condition of your true soul is, you cry out for mercy every hour on the hour, every minute on the, every 8 on the 8, every 7 on the 7, every 5 on the 5. You would cry for mercy if you really understood how disconnected from Christ you really are, and the trick they pulled on all of us to think we were serving God, but we were serving nothing but a pseudo-religion. And so we've been serving a pseudo-God, a pseudo-religion. We've been serving this thing, and we've been committed to the image, and they duped us all, including me. We've been duped. I'm with you. I'm not, listen, if I could sit here in this message, I'm with you. Y'all come on, listen to me. He said, have mercy on me. Listen, I keep saying, you kids, you should be crying, my man, have mercy on me. Because this is an all-out attack. It ain't black. it's white, it's Latino. Y'all ain't even thinking about color because they done got past that mess. It's to ruin your entire life. And for some reason, with this technology, y'all think y'all smarter than us. That we don't know what's coming down the pike. You big 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 25-year-old, knees don't crack when you wake up and you can go to the bathroom at will. You think you know what time it is. But we who have passed 25, 35 know he plays for keeps. And we know every hour we have had to give an account for either in our bank account, in our body, or our emotional system, which is totally stressed to the max because we played the same game you played and we lost. Some of us, unfortunately, are still playing the same game, committed to it. He said, the rich man also died and was buried, and in hell and in torment he looked up. See, we got the biggest day coming. Listen to this, how crazy it didn't trick us. We celebrate evil nationally on October 31st. We celebrate spirits, goblins, Dracula, zombies, you name it, and we celebrate it in the movies. We see it everywhere, and then we tell our kids, let's just play on Halloween and pretend like nothing's going on. They done tricked us so mad, they done got us to accept that the spiritual that we see is only entertainment. Where do you think they get it from? They done fooled us with our own spirituality and make us think that what we see, stuff disappearing and all that, y'all don't think spirits is real. They real. I'm looking at them right now. I didn't know I used to see them. I see dead people. No, do you understand? When we're talking right now, I'm looking at you, but for real, I'm talking to your spirit. You're talking to me. What you are ain't nothing but an illusion that you created, an illusion that I created. Must say you look good, and so do I. These are great illusions that we created, but this ain't who we are. We got a spiritual body. Have you ever thought somebody and they called you? You ever say, I need to get this, and it show up? That's the spirit. So now they got us looking at evil, thinking that it ain't real, letting our kids be possessed by every tum-tum, every type of video that they want us to be oppressed with, and then tell us the spirit ain't real. But Abraham said, he said, in hell and torment, he looked up and saw Abraham in the distance and Lazarus at his lap. He called out, Father Abraham, have mercy, mercy. He said, dip the finger of the water in to cool my tongue, and I'm in agony in this fire. And he cried out and said, Father Abraham, have pity and mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the finger. He says, but Abraham said, child, remember that in your lifetime, you fully receive what is due in you. Comforts, delights, upgrades on your cell phone. New ringtones. Lazarus, in the like manner, his family couldn't afford all that. Talk to me. His family couldn't afford all that. That's why you got crazy, want to jump out and get tattoos and all that, because you couldn't afford all that. As soon as you get your first little bit of money, now you want to commit to the world. He says he had all this comforts, and Lazarus, the man of discomforts and distresses, but now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. Besides all this, between us and you is a great chasm that has been fixed, in order that those who want to pass from this place to you may not be able, and no one can pass from there to us. Oh, I've met, see, God told me, he said, call yourself, he said, I'm going to give you a new name. See, I don't have time no more to explain to y'all what's going on. Y'all just watched the emancipation of Deron Cloud. You just got to witness over the last couple of years the emancipation of my soul. Why? Because just like this, he said, remember in your lifetime, you received your comforts while he received his discomforts, distresses. He said, I'm giving you a new name. See, y'all don't think that the spirit, y'all don't think that evil is real. You think it's fake. It's real. Good and evil is real, and they reside both together. And so he said, can't go. That's why y'all make y'all own religion. Rest in peace, little JJ. He in the motorcycle heaven. No. You got one. It's not funny because you got one choice, and guess what's going to happen? It ain't no motorcycle heaven. It ain't no stripper heaven. It ain't none of that. It is dark and it's light, and you got two choices. You got to make one or the other, and you can't straddle the fence. Especially you men that won't even commit to a woman. How you going to commit to God? That's why you find if you ever understood the strength of commitment, I'm committed to her without a ring, man. The strength of commitment is the integrity of my character to say no force can pull me away. And even if it attempted to understand, that's what keep me. But if you never learn how to treasure commitment because your father, natural father, never committed to you, then you think commitment ain't nothing but a towel just to throw around. And you fail to understand, especially you people of oppressed nature, that every time you able to walk away from somebody and just disappear, all you disappearing acts in here, just disappear. You with a woman, now you're going through and you just disappear. You was talking to it, now y'all, I'm not going to look at nobody. Y'all walking on two sides of the hallway, and now she got to figure out what's the problem with you. You just disappear. That's demonic. Because truly commitment says, even if I end this relationship, I'm going to talk to you, but you ain't man enough to even close it out. I came to tell you good things today. But Aaron said, child, remember that in your lifetime you got good things, and Lazarus got his bad thing. It's not like that here. Here, he's consoled, and you are tormented. Let me tell you why I said, God, I did this for you. I did this for you. Because if you're tormented on this earth, you're in the wrong space. If you're tormented on this earth, then you're in the wrong space right now. If you're tormented in your mind, that means God's telling you something is off, and you need to get your life aligned. You can't sleep. You can't get no rest. You just feel agitated. I'm hungry all the time. Don't know what I'm going to do. That means your soul is being tormented right here on this earth. And what's happening is the spirit realm is trying to tell you you're out of line. But what you do is go eat some more food. What you go do is get high. What you go do is get drunk. What you go do is start an argument. What you go do is buy a house. What you go do is get a car. What you go do is remodel. What you go do is flirt with somebody. What you go do is get on that Facebook. But you understand this is spiritual, man. That's why you're in tormented, man. Next time you look at yourself and ask yourself, why I got to do myself up like this just to walk outside? Am I not pretty enough to walk out without makeup on? Am I not pretty enough to walk out with my hair pulled back? Why do I not accept myself as I am? And I got to give everybody this illusion. He said, but Abraham said, the rich man said, then let me ask you, Father, send him to the house of my father, where I have 5 brothers, so he can tell them the score and warn them so they won't end up in this place of torment. Y'all, hell is real. Listen to me. I touched it. I've tasted death many times, but I touched it recently, man. Oh, no, this is real, man. This darkness is all consuming, man. It's all consuming. And if you don't let God become a consuming fire, this thing will consume you. The whole goal was to cause you to lose your mind and then quit and say it's whatever. When you started saying whatever, you was close to losing your mind. Listen to me. When you were able to say whatever to the Spirit of God and you know that you say, I'm just going to do what I want to do, you have already decided I've accepted darkness as my God. He said, hey, he let them tell them the score. He said, but they have Moses and prophets. Let them listen to them. He said, I know, Father Abraham. He said, but they're not listening. If someone came back to them from the dead, they would change their ways. We know that ain't true. Surely we done gave some of the best messages, most anointed messages. God came down in here. Jesus taught, stuff is happening here. And a person will walk right out and tell me a joke. Other people crying. Other person walk right out and say, want to hear this joke? And I walk away like, was he not in the room? Listen, I have watched some of you beautiful, beautiful women sit in here and be as promiscuous as you possibly can. And everybody knows and smells it. And you think that don't nobody know, and then you pretending like you ain't out there. you're doing it, you're about to go to hell. You got the Ananias and Sapphira spirit all over you. It's an acceptance of darkness, and that is the people please. Make people think I'm okay. That's not Christ. That's falsehood. That's darkness. I'm telling you feel godly sorrow for your sin, but I'm saying stop faking it, man. How you going to get healed and you can't tell them what you're going through? That's what this is about. This was never about a church that I go to. It was never about that. Oh, my goodness. Listen to me. John. No. John 7. Go there. John 7:37. I didn't give you that one. And if you have a microphone or something, Will, if you can read it. John 7:37, I believe it is.
On the last and greatest day of the feast, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as the scriptures have said..."
Stop, listen to us, y'all. They got us, man. They got us. And I'm with you. I'm with you. When MySpace and all that first came out, I was looking at it and I was saying, I know what I've read over the years. This couldn't be it. Because you're always looking for the mark of the beast to be 666. You know, you're looking for that kind of craziness. But you fail to understand the mark of the beast is nothing but being able to control all commerce, control all food, control all purchases, control all of that. That's nothing but the mark of the beast. And that you would have to get a mark to even be able to do this. Well, they got RFID chips, all these kind of things they're putting inside. They're saying all kinds of things to get your mind prepared for this mark of the beast. So I'm watching the MySpace. I'm looking at all this kind of stuff. And then I realized all of a sudden we done been pushed into high school spiritual. Not high school musical, but high school spiritual. Do you realize we fought like all get out to get out of that high school spirit? Am I right? Anybody ever experienced high school? Raise your hand. This one now. Aren't they some of the most nastiest, wickedest people you could ever meet? Am I telling you the truth? I so wanted to get out of high school because I thought they was going to kill me. People talk about you and ain't nobody getting in trouble for nothing. You can't go tell a teacher on nobody. You can lose your life. They bully. Listen, all y'all who get bullied, have hope. I used to be bullied too. I'm going to show you why you used to get bullied, and you'll stop getting bullied once you hear this. See, you got to be able to look a bully in his eye and say, whatever you do to me, it ain't going to take me down. It's your insecurities that's only doing this. See, let me tell you something. When you got something, look at me, man. When you got somebody coming at you, just lift your head up. When you got somebody, I'm talking to you. When you got somebody coming at you and they got some stuff to say, don't give into that spirit, because the whole spirit is to make them one up you. Don't even play into it. Walk away from it. They don't even know how to handle that. But if you sit there and entertain the spirit and talk with a fool according to a fool's foolishness, then you got to have a conversation with a child of God, is the best thing I could say to you right now, because I'm delivered. It's going to come your way in the next 4 days. So we get this spirit. High school, talk about you, put you down, steal your stuff in your locker, throw your crusty gym shorts out when they had gym. Now you ain't even got gym. You can finger exercise. You know, we're going to exercise our fingers for tweet. That's all we got right now. So we used to have PE, physical education. Y'all just have sex. That's all it is. Listen to me. It's true. And so now we fight to get out of that. They said I was this. They said I was that. They didn't like me to dance. I was gay. I wasn't gay. I liked to dance. Whoever you were, they stole our souls in high school. Then we spent the rest of, once we get into college, once we get out of high school, now it ain't no, if we go to college, whatever it is, we keep maintaining the system. And I realize this is how we've been feeding the demon. We've been expecting a system to bring us happiness. And it's a system that's flawed and broken because it's based upon the opinions of dark, conscious people who are hurt and abused themselves, and they used you as leverage to make them souls feel better, called rap. 2 Corinthians 5. I take this back. He said, if anyone's what? Thirsty, come where? He said, if anyone's what? Come where? Let me tell you, there's some people who are more spiritual than you, and they don't even go to church. And they still right with God. One day you'll catch that. There's some people, they do better not to come here, because if they hook up with some of you, man, y'all turn them out. You make them twice the son of hell as they were before they walked in here. Or they were saved, but by the time they come in here and figure all your musings and misgivings and understandings and hobnob foolishness, they end up not even believing no more. Some of them regret ever meeting a Christian. Because they'll turn you out, man, because they'll be just as fake as they want to be, won't live a nickel's worth of nothing, and then get to cutting up with you, and they act like you didn't see what's happening. You walk away confused. Somehow, I wanted to get delivered from my demons. You are used to your demons. That's why some of y'all, you go out and fellowship with people, and you expect them to be all on the up and up. They up there popping it, pow, pow, pow. You say, I thought we was just coming to get something to eat, baby. She had already set up the club atmosphere, already knew what was going to happen, because sometimes demons need you so they can complete their misery. And like a fool, you were silent. You're not a fool because I was silent. I'll never forget. I'm riding with this brother. I should have known right then and there. He said, we're going to be opening a club. We was trying to see if you wanted to invest. Like you, I didn't know what to do with that. So I said, well, maybe I'm missing it. See, the moment you start doubting a demon when he opens his mouth, woo, y'all better hear what I'm saying. You heard what you heard the first time. You just didn't want to believe it, because had I believed it, I would have had to cut the relationship right then and then. I would have lost something, my codependent on his cause. My codependency on this cause. Did y'all hear me? You don't want that man to leave you. You need him to call you and bug you so you can tell somebody bugging me. So how did he get you? He got you to lower your sovereign will. It's your will. It's my choice. I told a brother earlier, you didn't get your father. Your father escaped. Your father escaped abuse. Your father escaped all that. But the devil got you now. And let me see, because y'all think, I keep saying the devil, and you can, oh, he's walking around talking about the Satan and the devil. Now, you will sit down. Now, watch. Now, listen to the insanity and the irony of this. You will pay thousands of dollars or $10, $15 to go to a movie tonight that will scare the bejesus out of you. I messed around and went to this paranormal. I didn't know what I was going to. Once you get old, you can't be scared no more. I'm trying to tell you. I didn't even see the monster. I didn't even see the daggone monster. And I'm by myself. I'm scared as all get out. I'm sitting, I done got my gun on the side of the table. I pulled my gun out, put it on the table, said, I got to watch this movie. Y'all got quiet because y'all don't believe in the right to bear arms. Hey, man. Jason wasn't coming in the back window on me. Am I the only one? Is there any other man in here who will be honest that you have looked at a movie and thought about protecting yourself? Stand up. Shame the devil. Stand up. So I'm not the only one, because some people looking at me like I'm stupid, and I know I got goosebumps. I'm talking, this is a DVD, D. Sit down, please. So now, here you go. We pay, scared the best movie I've ever seen, scared the mess. I ain't never seen 2, 3, 4. I don't need to see no more of that. I'm so scary now. We went and saw some movie. I was supposed to be on vacation. I almost cut the circulation off in her leg. What Lies Beneath? Remember we saw that, What Lies Beneath? Oh, that white lady came out that water, grabbed me. I almost choked myself. I was like, get her out. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Can't do scary movies no more. Can't do it. But you know why you got to ask yourself, why do I like that entertainment? Because it's familiar. But when you find out what them spirits really do to your life, see, they only show that little part. But when they show you how, if they ever showed you how a spirit just ruins your entire life, I'll show it to you in a second. Mark 5, verse 2. As soon as, I'm reading a different verse, as soon as he got off the boat, they met him out in the tombs, a man under the power of an unclean spirit. This man continued, lived among the tombs, and no one could subdue him anymore, even with a chain. Now, they're already preparing us for this right now when you see on the news with this bath salts and all that kind of stuff. They're already getting you prepared to accept this kind of stuff that's getting ready to happen. And so now, for he had been bound with shackles with his feet in handcuffs, but his handcuffs, chains were wrenched apart in shackles. And when from a distance he saw Jesus, he ran and fell on his knees before him in homage. Crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What do you have to do with me, Jesus, Son of Man, Most High God? What is there in common between us? Solemnly implore you by God do not begin to torment me." For Jesus was commanding, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." And he asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." See, now now we get to watch Dracula, we get to watch all the stuff, every werewolf movie that deals with spiritual principles, but now we get to church, now it's spooky. But we can believe that our kids believe this, but now it's spooky to say no. Right then and there, he said, who are we? We are many. Let's talk about it, man. How do we end up feeling rejected all the time? How do we end up shameful all the time? How do we realize we're people pleasing? We just call them different names, but they many ain't nothing but darkness and a cooperation with it. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Y'all think Hollywood stole it from the Bible. The word, the manuscripts. 2 Corinthians 5, I think I'm at 1, where it says, "For we know that the tent," is that 5 or 2? Is that 1? "For we know that," y'all see that? "If the tent, which is our earthly home, is destroyed, dissolved, we have from God a building, a house not made with" what, guys? "Internal in the" what? "Heavens. Here indeed is the present abode body. We sigh and groan inwardly because we yearn to be clothed over. We yearn to be put our celestial body and like a garment to be fitted out with our heavenly dwelling." So you have to understand this is nothing but the flesh on the outside of the spirit. That's why when you go to funerals or you see somebody that's dying, I never forget when Sam was passing and they said Sam Hayward, he was going, and I had talked to him. And I remembered, and I got there, and he was there. I believe he was waiting for me and her to get there, and Helene, and we sat there, and he was and I could see he was gone. I just kept looking in his eyes. He was just breathing. But I could see he wasn't there. His spirit was dying. See, as a pastor, this has been a blessing, but it's also hard to watch people die. Because it's a blessing because you recognize you got a spirit, man. See, until you watch somebody die and you watch life leave their body, after you whispered in their ear, "Go ahead and leave." That's what this is about. See, y'all think this ain't real when I have had to sit down with my friends and know they're dying and look in their eyes and whisper, "It's okay to leave." And they died just like that. That's why I said he was waiting for me to get there. He said I had been a father to him. He said I had gone to rehab. I had done everything, but I got off heroin coming to the Soul Factory. That's why I'm not tripping off for anybody that says anything about me, because I, through the Spirit of God, was able to improve his quality of life his last 15 or 20 years on this earth. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And I was able to be with him as he ushered into the Lord. And I said, let me tell you something, I was scared too. I was so scared. I said, what's happening, Sam? I said, man, it's okay, man. You've done a good job. You've been a great soldier, man. You don't have to prove nothing else. I said, just let go, man. Helene's here. She's good. I said, go, man. That's what's with all us right now. And we're not being good stewards over this life. We're just doing whatever we want to do with this breath in our bodies. Let somebody slam you into your chest when you walk out of here and let all the air leave your body. You'll stop playing. That's what this is about. Luke 12. Let's go there, please. While you're going to Luke 12, this is so funny. Say this, my problem is I've been feeding the demon. Now, I woke up, listen to me, I woke up at, was it yesterday? It was not yesterday, but the day before at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. Jill had fell asleep on the couch, on the chair, and I was on the couch. And I'm trying to whisper this right here. And I'm not trying to wake her up, but God woke me up. He said, they've been feeding the demon. We've been feeding the demon. I said, what do you mean? He said, y'all been eating from the tree of good and evil, and y'all been demanding that the tree of good and evil make you happy. He said, y'all been eating from deception, and you've been asking deception to bring happiness to you. And this is why we've been so unhappy for so long, because we've been believing in a high school spiritual system. So I'm trying to whisper this to say, what's happening? And he said, you're feeding them. And I say, he said, you're feeding them. He says, and then whenever we're down, we call on that spirit. We ain't even calling on God. He says, when you go through, because you don't even know me, you're calling on the world to even help you solve your problems. And that's why you're getting further into it. And so it said, be aware, on guard for every form of greed. Greed is an inordinate desire. Greed is the thing that says more, more, more. Greed is to accumulate. Greed is about getting more and more. He said on the Sermon on the Mount, you can't serve God and money. You won't have enough in one life to serve for both. And so now I'm going to show you that how I became greedy, how you became greedy. When we read the parable, let's read verse 13 together, go. Someone in the crowd said to him, teacher. Now he said, somebody in the what? Said what? Tell the teacher to do what? Now, you got to see this now. Here is the insanity of greed. He's preaching to 2,000, 3,000 people. Watch, who can do this? These back here, I know they can actually do it. I really can't see nobody. I'm going to be talking. My man, I give you a hug all the time. I just want you to, right here, yeah. I just want you, don't do it now. I'm going to start teaching. I just want you to jump up while I'm teaching. I'm going to go right into it and say, hey, tell me my mother to give me my money. You're going to say it loud. You're going to ask me a question. Like, just interrupt me, okay? Don't do it just yet. So he said, someone in the crowd was saying, teacher, tell my brother to divide his inheritance with me. Jesus replied, the man who appointed me judge and arbiter over you. Then he said to them, watch out. Be on guard for all kinds of greed. Life does not consist of an abundance of possession. What? What'd you say? Greed has no clue how inappropriate it is. Did y'all hear me? Greed just wants what it wants now. What'd you say about your mother? give you the money. Do you understand I'm talking to 3,000 people and you want me to address your need? Because that's what greed is about. And everybody who was sat in this congregation all wanted us to address their issues as opposed to addressing Christ. And the moment we stop addressing your issue, I'm leaving the church. Oh, my goodness. And I got a show tonight. Clueless. Don't do it no more. That was inappropriate, wasn't it? Greedy people fail to recognize or even admit their problem. They just demand. He said, who appointed me judge and arbiter over you? Verse 16, and he told in this parable, go, the ground of a certain man, rich man, yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and make bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, drink and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. What happened to your relationships? My. But what did you do with your relationship? You took care of your cars. Brothers, y'all take care of your dog better than you take care of your children. You take care of your car. You make sure you're attentive. It gets more oil. Your car, you oil your car better than you oil your wife. You don't even understand what oil your wife means. You get what I'm saying? You don't even know what I'm talking about because you know your mind is so into what the world wants you to do. Are y'all listening to me? And so if you go, it says, on the last greatest day of the feast, he stood. He said, is anybody thirsty? So what we've been yelling for 10, 15 years, are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? And then we were trying to make you drink, but now we realize, no, you weren't thirsty. And when you were, go to Judges chapter 7. Come on. Go to Judges chapter 7. When you got thirsty, Judges chapter 7, verse 4. Are you there? But the Lord said to Gideon, there are still too many. Take them down to the water, and I will thin them out there. If you say to this one, you shall go, he shall go. But if you say to this one shall not go with you, he shall not go. He said, take them down to the water, and I will thin them out there. I will sift them there. See, what I am supposed to do, what a church was supposed to be about, was to bring you to water. The living waters, and you get those living waters inside of you, and they would be replenished over and over and over again. Take a cup. Take a cup. You don't have to pee when this is over. He says, the whole goal was for me to give you a little bit of water, help you to learn how to get some water when you got here. Go ahead, do what you got to do. That was the goal. So just go ahead and do what you got to do. Living water. The goal was to give you living water. But somewhere along the way, go ahead. Each time I gave them a little bit more. Each service, each time you come out, each time some spirit come off you, spirit give you a little bit more living water. Then after a while, what happened, Jill, is they came in, we took them down to the water, we showed them the water, and he says, now, the ones who lap like dogs, those are the ones that you choose. But the ones who just kneel down and put their face in the water, the ones who are not paying attention, who are not continually on God. So what happened is there are a whole bunch of people who over the years, look, I am a brilliant man. In terms of what God has done to me with the word that he's given me, I'm not boasting. I'm telling you, I've come up with so many angles on how to teach you. And God said they never wanted the water, because when they got the water, you saw the expanse of the water. the wisdom and the education and the spiritual education you receive through here, through Rivian, through Jill, through the books, through everything, it has been a culture shock to you. And because you became freed by seeing who you really were and all the power that you had available to you, you stopped being on guard. And this is when I realized my brilliance wasn't even enough. My creativity was not even enough. Because just like this, I never told y'all to drink. I never told you what to do. I just said, do what you do. What was supposed to happen was. Go put a little bit up there in that little cup right there. Just put a little bit, keep some for yourself. Put about 10% in there. That's it. Stop. Come on back. Come on back. Now, sit down. With that, you were supposed to pray and say, what do I do? You weren't supposed to take that, the rest of it, and go, Because even with that, that was enough to bless somebody else. But because we adopted the spirit of the world in the high school spiritual, we all about ourselves. And so the living water became consumed by us, used for us, and it was never used to bless. So all of a sudden, God said, I can't give them no more. And the people who was going through in trials, those who was crying, those who were showing up even when they didn't feel like showing up. God said, in between the tears, I'll keep you feeling you. Because every single time when you get a little bit, the first thing you do is you go and say, God, I'm going to give this to you. And then sometimes God say, sacrifice. He said, I'm going to let it all go. I can barely walk after Wildflower. He said, but let it all go because the sister on the front row, she needs to get separated from what's going on with this illusion. Give it all out. Can barely walk out. He says, but listen, if you willing to refresh others, I'll keep giving you enough for yourself. But what happened is we started getting so much for ourselves, we thought all this wisdom was for us. So now we done built the whole illusion. We got the house and we done fed the demon. Now we want the house and everything to feed us. And we've all come up wanting in our relationships. Now we can, listen, we are married. We done worked all our life for the kids. We done built an illusion. And now it's falling apart for everybody. And now we're realizing that it was never about the house. But we done put so much money into mortgage, so much money into cars, so much money into clothes, so much money into hardwood floors, so much money into red paint, white paint, blue paint, throw pillows, so much money into outward appearance, so much money into clothes, so much money into cars and shoes, so much money still trying to impress them high school people from the past, and all of us pretending like we making it, but we all walking in here broken our relationships. Can't get along with nobody, can't have a conversation without having an argument, but I'm telling you, help is here. Oh, it's here. It's all a choice. It's all a what? Come on. I'm almost done. Can y'all hang with me? So he said, I'll sift them. So Gideon took the men down to the water. He said, separate those who lap the water with their tongues like a dog's, and for those who kneel down and drink. 300 of them drank from the cupped hands, lapping the water, and the rest got down on their knees. The rest put their face down and didn't pay attention to the enemy. And in the last 3 years, see, what y'all didn't realize what happened was, in the last 3 years, I decided I'd rather lose this ministry than lose my marriage. So what y'all saw with attendance going down, and y'all saw no leadership meetings, and people believe, yeah, they losing it, because I studied enough to watch ministers lose their homes, their houses, and their minds, and the ministry look intact. So I made a decision before I lose my marriage, for some people who will roll out and drop in the drop of a dime, I will not do anything else, and it's me and her kid, because she didn't have to mess with me, but she did, and I'm only going all out for you. And so for 2 years, I focused on my mind, my marriage, my money, my ministry, and my mouth. Y'all thought I was just, these weren't slogans. I realized, man, I'm at the same precipice that most pastors are and you are, that with these hard times, man, temptation, all this stuff hits you. And before long, you just decide, I just want to be free. I just want to be out. But what I found out, the whole goal was he gave us all these trials so that we could get delivered through them. And so each trial you saw me go through, and it was relentless and relentless and relentless in jail. And just, I said, what is happening? He says, I'm breaking you. You're doing what? I'm breaking you, Duran. You've been too prideful. You have forgotten who I am. When you wake up, you think about man. You don't think about me. You're fearful. You're not speaking up. You're seeing. This is your pastor. So if this is me saying this, do not love the world and anything of the world. If anyone, this is 1 John 2, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in them. For everyone in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life comes not from the Father, but the world. People, that's everything we're looking at. So now look at Facebook, man. Let's talk about Facebook. It's a great tool if you want to advertise and do everything, but listen what it's got you doing, man. It's got you in everybody's business but your own. It's got you looking at him and what she doing. Listen, if you don't stop and take advantage of the life that God has given you, you will always be a slave to this world system, man. And so you're checking your tweets, you're updating your status, and you're putting all these pictures. Why is the high school spirit alive in us? Because for that one brief second, somebody comments on your thing, you get some kind of capital, some kind of spiritual capital credit that makes you feel good instantly, but it was never healing. And so if you put the hours you put on Facebook and the hours you focused on your healing, and you tell me what God you serve. Put the hours of your emails, your tweets, your texts, and how attentive you are to your friends, but you're not attentive to God when he's saying, hey, I'm trying to talk to you. Hey, can we just go spend the day together? That's what this is about, people. This is about love. This was never about what church you went to. Never about what religion, and I'm First Baptist. This is about being spiritual, man. That's why I tell you, there are some people I'd rather hang with that don't go to church. At least they're free to learn. He said, my people have committed 2 sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. That's Jeremiah 13. He said they've committed 2 sins. 2 sins. They've forsaken the spring of living water and have dug their own cisterns. I'm going to wrap this up, people. Here's what has happened. I'm with you in the sense that I've been waking up from this illusion, man. We have constructed an illusion and we're not happy. Am I right? We're not happy, man. We're a slave to this system, man. I'm talking about torment, man. I'm talking about trying to figure out, why can't I break the curse that was on my own generation, man? Why can't I undo what my dad, my uncles, and everybody else? What's wrong with me, man? I swore I wouldn't be a part of that world, and look who I am. Are y'all feeling me? And so we all hurting, and we all pretending like we ain't hurting, but we hurting, man. We all hurting because we have all paid homage to the devil, man, and we didn't know it, and they tricked us by hooking our attention. And once they hooked our attention, they hooked your kids' attention. So when I was telling your kids were godless, I was not trying to beat you down. I was saying, no, man, they got us. So now, here's where we end up. The public success and private failures. And we keep going back home saying, God help me, God help me, God help me, God help me, God help me. Now, wow, listen, I know when you real, you get tired of asking God because you know you ain't going to do it. Did I just tell the truth? When you real and that thing, that porno, that relationship, that darkness got a hold on you, it gets to a point where you get numb and you decide, I'm just going to do me, man. So tired of all this drama. No more. I want to be free. I'm tired. Broken heart again. Another lesson learned. Better know your friends or you will get burned. Got to count on me because I can guarantee that I'll be fine. Y'all remember that? Got to count on me. I used to go, I'm betting on black right now. And I can't even bet on black no more. Black is whack. Crack is whack. Rest her soul. No more pain. No more pain. No drama. No more drama in my life. No one's going to make me hurt again. Why'd I play the fool? Go through ups and downs, knowing all the time you wouldn't be around. Or maybe I liked the stress because I was young and restless. But that was long ago. I don't want to cry no more. The reason Mary J. Blige hits our soul because she was able, in the midst of her mess, break free. If you ever read the story of how she broke free, man, she was doing her thing. She got really popular, and then everybody like leeches got on her. And she was having this drama, and all she wanted to do was sing, man. But then she found out her father was, going through beating her mom's, all these different things, and her daddy issues and everything. That woman is the prophetess for 2012. If you listen to her songs, they're throughout saying, this is the drama. I don't want no more drama. She says, I don't want to go through this no more. He says, no more pain, no more game, no more messing with my mind. Listen to me, y'all. I've tasted death. A couple of weeks ago, I went, and you're pretty good. A couple of weeks ago, I sat down and wrote down, I tasted death 29 times. And I've tasted death where my soul was shocked to a point where I knew what death felt like. No child should know what death feels like. And so once you have tasted death, it messes with your mind. And so you look up and you realize you're 46, 47 years old. That's why I told one of the sisters, I said, man, you fail to realize high school spiritual, they stole our souls from us. They stole our will because we don't want to stand up in front of nobody. You don't want to public speak in front of nobody. They stole our souls, our dress, our temperature, our complexion, everything. And so the world has stolen our souls, and we look up, and parents and all kinds of stuff has stolen our souls, and we look up, and then we try to figure out, why am I screwed up? So here she's saying, I didn't want no more drama. No more drama in my life. He says, you feel good when you let go of all the drama in life. Now you're free from all the pain. Let's talk about free and drama. See, because some of us, we don't understand. We think that this song, we overplay the word drama. But listen, when you say no more drama, let me clue y'all in to something. This red glasses, all this ain't got nothing to do with no style. Has nothing to do with style. My personal friends know why I have red glasses on. When you are desperate for God, you will do desperate things to have your mind change. And so some prophets laid on their side this time and cried this way. Some prophets laid and did this. Some prophets did whatever. He told me this is what I do. And I don't have to explain that to anybody. He's losing his mind. You better be glad I'm losing my mind. I lost my mind to have the mind of Christ. I had the mind of the world. I was in and out. Are y'all listening to me? I don't want you just to clap. I want you to hear this, man. I don't know how I made it to pastor you these many years, man. I've helped shepherd y'all through areas in your life. I've been waking up so surprised by the Holy Spirit every morning, crying, saying, how did I make it this far? How? How did we do this? By the time you realize you only made this through the Spirit and there's no other way, I'm here. Y'all don't even understand. What it means to say no more drama in my life, that means no more shame. No more drama means no more pain. You can play, man. No more drama means no more pain, no more rejection, no more fear, tormenting thoughts, crying over past hurts, no more hurting over old wounds, no more suffering for fools. See, you got to understand this. Your pastor has been delivered. I realized on October 3rd, 2012, my soul got emancipated because I said I no longer believe in the system, and I thought it was normal to walk around with this drama. I thought it was normal. For 40 years, I've walked with fear, but today, and I'm here to tell you, if you get the living waters from God, and if you surrender your soul over to God, and if you surrender and you bow down to him, them demons that have been robbing you of your thoughts, robbing you of your peace, all that abuse that's been going through, when you cried over there and you said, I'm going through, I rejoice. Because that's where the pain comes from. And if you can go through that pain and sit in it, wildflower, let him heal you. Let him heal you. Just keep saying no more drama, no more drama, no more drama. That means no more torment. That means no more suffering for fools. How many of us have suffered for fools? How many ever suffered for fools? How many ever loved a fool and suffered for him? Anybody ever loved a female fool, a male fool, and you suffered for him? No more of that. See, if you surrender over to Christ, he says no more of that. No more emotional, distant relationships where you can't be real and who you are. No more frozen feelings. See, when you get free, brother, your wife will be able to say whatever she feels because you've made a declaration. In this house of God, we are making a declaration, no more drama. No more drama in my personal house. No more drama in the house of God. And if there's drama, we kindly ask you, please go to another stove because we don't need you here no more. No more pain. Did I say no more pain? Look in my eyes. For 40 years, I've walked around with pain and fear. They're gone. They're gone. See, the demon may not be able to control you, but it says no undeserved curse deserves rest. But if you think you're flawed, you'll carry the demon like it's your brother or your sister. But the day you realize, I've been believing in the system that is not even real. And the day you relinquish and renounce your belief in that system and say, Christ be crucified, and that's all you know. God knows when you're serious. He knows. Oh, he knows. No more sitting with the wolves as they feast on your soul. You ever sat? I know a friend, she sit down, her friend cuss out every time they talk. Why do you take that? Why do you take her cutting up with you? Because you've been trained to love the bad woman, love the bad man. Talk to me. Now we're gonna go out on some worship. So if y'all think that this is over, I'm on worship because you know what? This is the emancipation. See, what y'all think I'm crazy? No, he said I'm coming in the spirit of Elijah. I'm coming in the spirit of Jehu. But because you ain't spiritual, y'all think this is another style. You don't understand, man. We're in the last days. Let's talk about Phoenix. Jehu, Phoenix. He done lost his mind. No, I done rose from the ashes up on y'all. What was meant to burn us up, what was meant to crush me, what was meant to destroy my wife, what was meant to separate our marriage, what was meant to keep us from reaching the promise in this lifetime. We rose from the ashes up off y'all ashes. And God has renewed our spirit. It's called born again. Because what you know what we believe. Go look at Mr. and Mrs. Smith and put us in the spirit. We told that devil, come up in here if you want to. Because we'll go down believing. No. We went down believing. We decided not to be evil. We decided not to return evil with evil. We just decided to love and say, you know what, crush me. I trust you to kill me. That's my slogan. I trust you to kill me. I trust you to kill me. It's in your nature. You have to try to kill me in order to get healed. So I trust you to kill me. And if I trust you to kill me, I can trust you to be healed too. But I trust for you to get out on me. Some trials is for God to finally say, when you going to lick the devil and realize he's stanky? No more fog of darkness. Free means to be in prison, not in prison, not to be enslaved. Free means to not be subject. Free means to be unobstructed. Free means to be unguarded in expression and manner. Free means to be liberal or lavish if you want. Free means to do things on your own accord, whether you want to, if you want to, if you do, if you don't, you do. Free means to be unconstrained, unconfined, to not be in a fixed position. Free means to be capable of relatively unrestricted motion and empty. Free means to be unoccupied, bound, fast, and attached. Free means to be a servant without restraint. Free means to be without charge. That's what this is about. Now, there was a woman who had an issue of blood at the well. Her menstruation cycle was on every day. For 12 years, she bled every day. It was to the point where she was considered unclean. And if anybody touched her, go on the stage. If anybody touched her, please go on the stage. Please go on the stage. If anybody touched her, they have to wash their hands. My man, please go on the stage. Go on the stage, please. Just stand up there. If anybody touched her, I used you. Can I use you again? Right here. Yeah, Red. Come on, man. Come on the stage. Y'all give him a hand as he comes on down. Thank you. Come on. Right here. You. Come on up. Sister, right behind. Right here. You. Come on up. Come on the stage. Come on the stage. Quickly. Come on. Watch your step. Come on up here. Come on. Y'all with me, right? I've been thinking about this for some weeks now. Come on. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what you're going to do. All you're going to do, you're just going to walk. 1, 2, 3. Y'all just going to walk like this. And when you get here, you're going to turn around. You're going to walk this way. Here, y'all come right here. Y'all face down. Y'all face down. Y'all just keep walking back and forth. Daryl, come here. Just keep walking. Don't stop. Keep walking. Come on, quickly, brother. Come on. Y'all just keep walking now. Just keep walking. So here she is. She's got an issue of blood. Just wrap this right here. Just wrap it around. Just keep it up. Just hold it like that. You can hold it in front a little bit. Hold it on. Get up there. She had an issue of blood. Now she's anemic. She's bleeding every day. Maxi pads every day. She's feeling them. It's over. She's diseased. She feels what's happening. Today she would have been diagnosed with some kind of hemorrhage or something, and it was going on. And you just keep walking with them. Keep walking. You stay right where you are, Daryl. Y'all keep walking. And here she is. She's tired. She don't want no more drama. She don't want no more pain. She don't want to go through no more. Daryl, you just keep walking back and forth. Walk back and forth. And she heard Jesus was coming. Now she's wore out. She heard Jesus was coming. Y'all keep going. And by this time, you got to understand, she's tired. She's been struggling with this. But she says, if I could just get to him when he comes through, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, if I could just get to and touch the hem of his garment. God, I don't want to suffer with this no more. God, if I could just find him and touch the hem. See, sometimes it ain't about talking to Christ. It ain't about getting no advice from him. It ain't about, it's about, God, I just need to touch the hem of, where are you? Oh God, where are you? You got to become desperate for him. You got to become desperate. And then she grabbed it. He said, who touched me? Who touched me? She came out from hiding and she said, I touched you. I've been struggling with this all my life. If you could just heal me. don't care what nobody think. I just want to be healed. And she touched him. And virtue left Jesus' body because she touched him with intent. She touched him saying, I want out. I want out. And you don't care how you look. Y'all got to want out of this. God bless you. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Ruth. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get a mic. Come on. Can we praise this for a second? Come on. Can we praise this for a second? Come on. No more pain. No more pain. No more drama in my life. No one's ever going to make me hurt again. Come on. Get your healing. Get your healing. Come on. Come on. Sister, your brother, just make a decision to make a choice. Just make a decision that it's your choice. Come on, no more pain, no more pain, no more pain, no more pain. If you want to let it go, if you want to renounce the pain, and you want to renounce the pain, you want to renounce the torment, you want a good night's sleep,
no drama,
you just want to feel okay.
No,
I want to pray with you. We're going to close out with this. Just come on down. Come on down. Come on. Come on. Come on.
No more.
In Atlanta too. Come on. Come on. Come on, my abused friends. Father, let's stop right here. We surrender to you. We surrender to you, God. Bring breaking. And when you're broken in your car, break them in their car.
Thank you, God.
Break them tonight when he goes to sleep. Break them when they come out to Wildflower. Break them tomorrow morning, God. Let them know that you're there with them, God. And the same spirit that visited to our house, let it visit here, Father. The same harmony that's in my house, let it come here, Father. And for all those faithful remnant people, God, for all those who've been faithful to the vision, faithful to you, not faithful to me, but faithful to your vision, God, may you continually increase them with wisdom, God. Continually increase their endurance, God, and enlarge them, Father. Father, bless everybody in here now. Bless the children. Bless the children as we do our business right here and settle that they don't have to grow up like us. Give us strength over Facebook and everything else, God. God, and we'll always be careful to thank you for what you've done here. Say this, Lord, I surrender. I surrender to the way, to the truth, the spirit of truth. Not a white man, not a black man, not a Latino man, not a Hispanic man, but the Spirit of God. We thank you, God, for the opportunity for such a unique worship experience. Let's praise him right there. Come on, come on.